people? I'm back. Today's Monday. I'm off for 2 days. So you're going to get 2 days worth of videos. Because I think either later today or tomorrow I will drop my next episode of my sports series. It'll be Magic Johnson versus the great Kobe Bryant. And Who's Better? Season 2. Episode 2. Now, today's sex game, I'm going to make another video. This one's going to be very unpredictable. Well, actually, it's not too unpredictable, but to my new audience and my new subscribers, it's going to be very new to you guys. It's going to be called Sex with Barbie Part 2. Now, you probably might spit out your Coca-Cola, you might spill out your Pepsi, your Mountain Dew, your Arizona, your beer, your tea, your water, whatever it is that you drink, you might spit it out. If you hitting that blunt or that weed or that crystal meth, you might spit that out your nose or out your mouth and say, what the hell this guy just said? I'm going to say it again. Sex game, sex with Barbie, as in the Barbie doll, the toy Barbie. Now, it's my version of talking about plastic surgery, and it's about women. About 90% on average, women think about trying to become the perfect woman. They try to become the Barbie doll. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And it's like an obsession with women. Black women, white women, Mexican women, and it's in some form or fashion. You got some Asian women that want to become Barbie because the Barbie doll is synonymous with pop culture. You go back as early as the 1940s and the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, and the Barbie's been around for that long of a period. You know, you see all those toy Barbie commercials. You just look at hip-hop R&B sensation Nicki Minaj. She basically deems herself as the black Barbie. And every woman who is a fan of Barbie likes the idea of Nicki Minaj being a Barbie. You know, and it was, if you go back 8 years ago, they actually made a toy of Nicki Minaj being that version of Barbie. And what we're going to talk about is women who love to say they're different, but in reality, 80% of women are the same. When you start getting the tattoos and the body piercings, you get blue hair, red hair, green hair, pink hair, you're not different no more. Now you're just the same. See, the word different is implied that there is something of high value that makes you different from average people. Like, for an example, if I go from being middle class to being rich and famous and I join the elite, I'm very high value. And the average people are just regular. But when a woman decides to have red hair or pink hair or blue hair or green hair or whatever color hair she chooses, and she's got anywhere between 6 to like 13 tattoos, and then the piercings, and then you see 15 other women that look exactly just like the same girl you try to ask out to lunch and dinner, well, you're not dating a woman that's different. Now you're just dating a clone of that same girl. And I call this the Barbie syndrome. Or more specifically, I call this the Barbie curse. Because every woman thinks they're Barbie. You know, black women, white women, Mexican women, Asian women, in some form or fashion, women will argue, well, that's a part of our childhood. And I think that's very dangerous and very detrimental to their health, because you see what type of powerful effect it has on a woman throughout her whole entire life. Women that are in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, even when a woman gets 60, they still go to sleep dreaming about being Barbie. And it has a very strong and powerful effect. Sometimes more of a negative effect than a positive effect. And you see, this video is to explain to heterosexual men what is the fascination with women, or should I say women having an fascination with Barbie and trying to become Barbie. Now, if you're a 300-pound woman that's fat and out of shape, now if you're 300 pounds or 400 pounds and you have some confident issues, then there's nothing wrong with you going to the hospital and trying to spend anywhere between $10,000 to like almost $50,000 for for beauty. If you're just born ugly and you got confident issues, there's nothing wrong with getting plastic surgery. So I'm not taking my issues with women who are born ugly or they're fat and out of shape and they have some confident issues. My issue is the women that are already physically, sexually attractive, trying to make themselves more physically, sexually attractive. That's what I take issue with. Now, some women might say, what's wrong with being our absolute best? There is absolutely nothing wrong with you being your absolute best, except for when you decide to spend $20,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, almost $90,000 to get plastic surgery for your face. And you destroy your face, you destroy natural beauty to the point where by the time you get in your 30s or your 40s, or even worse, your 50s, you're unrecognizable. You look like those monsters from those horror movies, and when a man tries to talk to a girl that he got rejected from in his past, like high school and college, and it's 10 years later, 15 years later, 20 years later, or extreme cases, 25 to 30 years later, the woman looks so completely worn out, burnt out, exhausted, unrecognizable due to the damage of her face from all the years of makeup and plastic surgery. And makeup and plastic surgery go together. Now, they do enhance looks, and some women can get away with it and some women can't get away with it. And when women start that I'm different, then that's a problem. Now, when women go get an ass injection, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, having a big ass became the most popular thing on the planet. Most of you heterosexual men, you will agree with me. Doesn't matter if you're a black man, a white man, a Mexican man, an Asian man. Doesn't matter if you're from Russia, Germany, or Paris, France. I don't care if you're from planet Mars. I don't care if you're from planet Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. Yes, I said Dragon Ball Z. If you're a man, most of you will agree at 99.999% that in the late 1990s, early 2000s, having a big butt, if you're a woman, was the most popular thing in the world. Now, today, you see black women have big butts, white women got big butts, Mexican women have big butts, and pretty soon you're going to see some Middle Eastern women and some Asian women with a big butt. And you got to spend anywhere between $20,000 to like almost $50,000 just to have an ass. Like the high-class residential area I work at, you see a lot of supermodels, fitness models with ass. Now, back in the early 1940s and 50s and 60s and 70s, you never saw supermodels with a big butt. Now, all of a sudden, you see supermodels with a big butt. You see fitness models with a big butt. And that's when you can tell that they're spending their money doing it. And all of this is to physically, sexually attract men. Men that they find interesting. Like if you play professional basketball, football, baseball, or if you're an R&B singer, if you're a rapper, or a rock star, or an actor, or a filmmaker, that is who the women are trying to get the attention of. They're not trying to get the attention of a guy that works at McDonald's, or works at Carl's Jr., or works at Foot Locker. They're not trying to get those men because those guys are low value. They're not even trying to get the guy that is a security guard. Now, if he's a police officer or an armed security guard, they'll make an exception. If he's a firefighter, they'll make an exception. But if he's a security guard without the gun and without the handcuffs and without the badge and the nightstick and the pepper spray and the taser, then they don't want to talk to no security guard. You ask any black woman, any white woman on this planet Earth who they rather end up with. Basketball players, football players, baseball players, R&B singers, rappers, rock stars, actors, filmmakers. That's who they 90% of the time want to be with. And these women obsess of being Barbie 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Now, You even got cases where you got some obese women. You get women that are 200 pounds, 300 pounds, 400 pounds, trying to become the fat Barbie. They try to become the fat version of Barbie. You know, they'll work on their face, they'll work on their butt, and then the rest of their body is just damaged. And the problem I have with this is women complain that I just got used for sex. You know, I got pumped and dumped. I just got used for sex. And I'm here to tell women that if you don't want to get used for sex, stop trying to turn yourself into a Barbie doll. Okay, when you get a man and he takes you out to lunch and dinner, most men, not just me, but most men, their #1 prime objective is just to have sex. Okay, we'll take you out to lunch and dinner. We'll talk about our life story. We'll talk about what we like to do for fun and entertainment. But the whole purpose of asking a woman out to lunch and dinner is to have sex. If a man lies and say, no, I don't want to have no sex, he's lying to you. And I'm going to make a video series called Why, well, not a video series, but I'm going to make another video called Why Men Lie to Women. Most men lie because they don't want a woman to find out that we want sex. But the point I'm trying to say in this video is that when you turn yourself into a Barbie, you're not making the situation better, you're making it 10 times worse. Because what happens is the only reason why you get asked out to lunch and dinner is because you look like a Barbie. And the man look at that as an opportunity to have sex. And then when he no longer wants to talk to you or deal with you because you look like a Barbie, now it becomes your fault because he already got what he wanted out of the deal. And that was his only reason for doing it. And then these women basically want attention. So when these women buy all this makeup and they basically try to become a version of Barbie because they see it in movies, television shows, commercials, and then of course you throw in social media, and that creates a whole completely different monster altogether. And these women don't just do this when they're in high school and college. They throughout this whole entire life. They do it in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, and you think that by the time they get 50 or 60 years old, they would just stop. And you got cases now where you got women that are 50 years old. Well, I'm gonna be the 50-year-old Barbie. I'm gonna be the 60-year-old Barbie. I'm gonna be the 65-year-old Barbie. And you start to scratch your head and say, what kind of monster have been created? Now, I know some women might get angry and think I'm woman bashing. Woman bashing is where I just say I don't like women. I love women. I like all types of women. But what I'm trying to say in the video is that women who obsess, who become literally obsessed of Barbie, it's like you're gonna turn yourself into a Barbie and then you're just gonna get used as a sex object. And if you look in the world of professional sports, that's exactly where the problem comes in. Women be trying to do this for men that they find physically, sexually attractive. They do it for the professional basketball players, the football players, the baseball players, the rock star, the R&B singer, the rapper, the actors, the filmmakers. You do this for guys that do boxing and mixed martial arts. You do it for men that you find physically, sexually attractive. And sometimes you got a case where some of these women are prostitutes, they're strippers, and you have to ask yourself how they get that type of money to enhance their looks. You know, how does a woman get a big butt if she didn't have a big butt while she was in high school and college? So now you get a woman that's 25 or 30 years old with a big butt, but if you look at her pictures when she was in high school and college, she never had no big butt. But the answer is she became a stripper. Most of the women that are strippers, prostitutes, porn actresses, they save up anywhere between $20,000 to like almost $50,000 or $60,000, and they get breast implants, they get a big butt, a tummy tuck, liposuction, you know, they do their lips, and they fix their face up, and then they look like 10s. Then these women look like 8s, 9s, and 10s. And everything on their body is fake. But at that point, you don't care if you're a man because your goal is just to have sex. But what I'm saying is these women destroy themselves and destroy their body to become Barbie. And by the time you're 50 or 60 years old, a lot of these women are depressed. A lot of these women are miserable because no man wants to marry them. No man wants to get married and have kids. And then these women start to get on alcohol and drugs. And then they have thoughts of suicide. And then they commit suicide because no man wants no woman that is a Barbie. Yeah, men want to take Barbie out to lunch and dinner. Men will have sex with Barbie. But no man wants to actually marry Barbie and have kids by Barbie. Because all of the focus and all the attention is not going to be on the man, it's going to be on the woman. Just like no woman wants a man that all he does is have a reputation for just having sex with multiple women and don't want to settle down. So it's a two-way street, it works both ways. I mean, men have an obsession too, but how often do you see men try to become what they see in the movies and the television shows? And you see, and it ain't just me getting on women. I'm going to have to get on some men too, so I can make it fair and impartial. I don't want women to be like, oh, he just getting on all the females. I'm going to get on some of us men too. We're a little guilty. I mean, if you're a real man and you're real honest, you'll admit that you're guilty, that you even have an obsession with Barbie. There are a lot of men that fantasize about getting with Barbie so it can enhance our status. So we can brag to our friends at work and at school and in the gym, hey, I'm dating Barbie. So a lot of us are at fault too. A lot of us are guilty too. If we're real men, we'll look in the mirror and we'll admit, or I should say, you should admit that you're man enough to admit that sometimes you're a little guilty. Because there are women who get rejected by basketball players and by football players because you'll hear a man say, well, she don't have no big butt. I like women with a big butt. So you mess up the woman's head because she thinks that if I get a big butt, I'll be accepted. You got some men who'll say, I like girls with big breasts, not small breasts. And then a woman will spend $40 or $50 or $60,000 on breast implants to impress a man, to make the man accept her. So then a girl gets breast implants and an ass injection just so she can make that man find her physically, sexually attractive. Same thing if it's a fat girl that's 200 pounds or 300 pounds or 400 pounds. She'll go get a big butt. Well, she already have a big butt, but she'll try to make her butt bigger than what it already is, and she's 300 pounds, 400 pounds. A lot of men would have to take some kind of responsibility at some point. You got to say it's your fault for saying, yeah, I didn't have to reject that girl, so the girl thinks she got to have big breasts or a big butt because that's what you want. And then she got to save up all this money and destroy her body just so she can impress you. So some men, it's our fault because we tell the woman, well, I want a woman with a big butt, or I want a woman with big breasts. And then that woman got to become a stripper or a prostitute and save up that type of cash just to impress us. So yeah, it is, in a way, we should take some blame. So women get 50% of the blame, we get 50% of the blame. Now, I'm not saying at the same exact time women don't do it to us, because before any of you men come in the comment section and say, why don't you make a YouTube video about when women say they want men with six-pack abs and look like basketball and football players, I am going to make another video because I do know that when I do upload this onto both channels, a lot of you guys are going to say, I love the video, but you need to make one about when women make a man go into a gym and try to bench press 400 pounds to look like the Incredible Hulk. I am going to make a video explaining why that is bad for women to make men out to look like superheroes from the comic books. What I'm saying in this YouTube video is that both political parties are at fault. Women are at fault for destroying their natural beauty and their face and their body, and us men were at fault because when we reject a female, we go, well, she ain't got no big butt, so I'm gonna reject her. She don't have big breasts, I'm gonna reject her. And then this woman has an insecurity issue, and you kind of screw her head on backwards, and then she thinks she has to become Barbie, like literally become Barbie, just so she can physically, sexually attract the men she wants. And she does this for men that are professional basketball players, football players, baseball players, R&B singers, rappers, rock stars, actors in television and film, and filmmakers. Men that are rich and famous, or as Big Boss Calvin 83 likes to refer on YouTube, 20%. And women like to reject 80% of the men. And my second issue with women trying to become Barbie is you can't use the word "I'm different," because if 15 girls have 6 to 13 tattoos and body piercings, and then they have blue hair, red hair, and pink hair, then no woman is different. So you get a black girl that got some tattoos and some piercings, her hair is green. You turn around, you get you a white girl, she's got green hair and some tattoos and some piercings. So there's nothing different about those two girls. Those two girls look completely identical to each other. It's just that the black girl has big breasts and a big butt with tattoos and piercings and green hair, and the white girl's got green hair with tattoos and piercings, but she is slimmed down. So how are both the girls different when they're identically the same to each other? That's my second issue with women, is when you say I'm different, I'm not like all the other women. You all shop at the same store, at the same clothing store, you buy the same makeup, you buy the same clothes, and you chase and you stalk the same men. About 80% of women on average chase 20% of the rich elite. You got women that will constantly chase and stalk professional basketball players, football players, baseball players, R&B rappers, R&B singers, rock stars, actors, filmmakers. There are special cases where you have women that chase police officers, firefighters, guys that have their own company. Women that will chase these men because they're rich and famous. And I'm saying 80% of the time the women chase these types of men. And these women don't think that there's a price to pay. And then when these women are sitting here 40, 50, 60 years old and they're just getting used for sex, is because you turned yourself into a Barbie. If there's anything worse than being a prostitute, being worse than a stripper or a porn actress, if there's anything 10 times worse, it's turning yourself into a Barbie. And then complaining that the only time men want to talk to you is when they want to just use you for sex. And you see, that's also how we get these sexual harassment claims. This is how we get the feminists. This is how we get the Me Too, because it starts with women trying to impress men that are rich and famous. So women get 50% of the blame for destroying their body, their face, and their natural beauty. And 50% of us men should take responsibility, because when we reject these women, we give these women what I like to call an insecurity issue. It's just like if a woman say you got a small package between your pants, we get an insecurity issue. If a woman say you're fat, and a woman say I don't want no man that's fat, we get an insecurity issue. If a woman calls me ugly, and I get told by 15, 20 different women I'm ugly, I get an insecurity issue. So it's 50% women's fault and it's 50% men's fault. And I'm talking about if you're a real man, you can say that when you were in high school or in college, at one point you too obsessed of wanting to get with Barbie. Because Barbie raises your status. Barbie makes all the guys on the basketball team and on the football team respect you. And when a woman becomes a Barbie, it makes other women jealous and envious. And what I'm saying in this video is that when a woman says she's different, no, you're not. Because almost every woman on this planet says the word I'm different. You got black women with a big butt. Now you got white women with a big butt. You got Mexican women with a big butt. Now you got some Asian women and some Middle Eastern women that have a big butt. So if 80% of women have big breasts and a big butt, none of you are different. You're all pretty much the same at this point. To me, different is if you're from an alien planet and you got 4 arms with big breasts and a big butt, now you're completely different. So if 80% of women are saying, well, I'm not like that other girl. Well, a lot of girls have tattoos, a lot of girls have body piercings, and a lot of girls like to bleach their hair different hair colors. Now, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with having tattoos. I actually like girls with tattoos. If you got a tattoo on your ass, I actually like that. You got a tattoo on your arm, on your leg, I'm not complaining about it. You can have a dragon tattoo on your back, I'm cool with it. If you want some piercings, again, I'm cool with that. That's not what I'm saying in the video. What I'm saying is when you open your mouth and you say I'm different, you're not. Because you're chasing the same men that other women. You get 15 women chasing one basketball player. How does that make you different? You get 50 women chasing a film director. How does that make you different? You're chasing after the same man. So when they say 80% of women are chasing 20% of the men, 20% of the men are rich and famous. You're chasing multi-millionaires that are 10 times over. You're chasing a billionaire that is rich 10 times over. So that doesn't make you different, that makes you the same. And then the guys that you reject in high school and college, when you hit the wall, that's the third reason. When you get plastic surgery, that is a nice way of saying you've hit the wall. And you see, I'm trying to explain it to you men that are from the age of 18 to 29, which I exchanged the age limit from the age of 18 to 29 to the age of 35. Because what I'm trying to say is, you have some men that don't seem to understand what this is all about. And you see, if you look at all these movies and television shows, a lot of the women want to do it. Like when you get a black woman in the weave, right? You get black women trying to become white. And you know why black women be trying to have blonde hair and have a weave? Because they see a bunch of black men date what? White women. And then you get white women trying to have an ass like a black woman. So when women say, I'm different, I'm unique, no, you're not. Unique and different is if you actually are unique and different. But when you all have tattoos and body piercings and you bleach your hair the same color, you're no longer different. You're now the same. Now, there's a case where there's a rule of the exception. So, yeah, so basically, that's basically what this video is. And a lot of times when women become the Barbie, they just get used for sex. And the reason why these men do that is because it's fun and it's entertaining. And I'm saying in this video, that's pretty much what the problem is. So I don't want to make this video longer than what it already was. Until then, peace.